So do you love rejection? How many of us, how many, how many of us, what if there was a couple tools that we could include in our arsenal here with our company we love in business? What if there were, by incorporating these tools and little action steps and our connecting and inviting process, it would enable us to have this beautiful, create a beautiful space of rejection-free inviting. Would that be a compelling, inviting subject to learn?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'm here with a great group of leaders here, wellness partners making a difference. And thanks, guys, for joining me. We have Jim and actually Jim, Jill, and Dennis are all up in the great state of Utah, which we were just talking about. And Diane, you're here with me in Texas, so is Candace. Right. I do want to welcome you guys. If you're watching this recording, the whole intention here, here's my intention. I'll hand it over to Jill as well. My intention is to simplify and clarify these couple tools where when you finish this recording or this live training, you can actually apply them starting tonight or tomorrow immediately because they're so simple. So that's really my simple goal and intention. Miss Jill.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes right along with that. None of us love to be rejected. So if we can find a way and teach you all, different ways from our perspective on how you can do that and have something that you can, reach out to people and make the transaction like smoothly, just everything else smooth. And then, yeah, so that's my intention right along with that. What about you, Jim?
I just love rejection. Yes. No, I think that's what, fear knocked at the door, faith opened the door, and no one was there. However, the fear of rejection for me is probably the single biggest cause of me not going into action.
Interesting. And how many, when you hear someone as authentic and who seems so present in his belief in power, like Jim Rhodes, if you hear that stops him in his tracks often enough, do you feel like you're on common ground when it stops you in your tracks? Anybody? Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm probably the only one.
Oh, right. No.
Yeah.
Maybe all of us.
Not even. So what if we could ask in a way, and what we can call it, one of my mentors calls it testing the waters. Okay. What if we could ask in a way that we could test the waters to see if we even have a potential customer or partner before we even invite them to take a look. So the concept is called, let's test the waters. Meaning before you dive in and risk jumping on top of a rock head first, why don't you wade in a little bit and test the water to see if there's anything below the surface, okay? So. Okay, we're going to share a couple tools, and let me start with, let me call on her here, Diane. So Diane, I know you and I have been doing some mentoring. Diane is a brand new wellness partner who just recently came on board with us. Yes, thank you, and you're amazing, by the way. So Diane, you came on board really only, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago?
Yes,
And you obviously had amazing results. Your whole family, your hubby is transforming.
Absolutely. Yes. And quickly. It's great.
And quickly. Yeah. So you're loving the products, which is the foundation. And now you also had this vision to really make a difference with people.
Right.
Okay. So let's tee this up. So when we first started our process together, did you have any imposter talk going on?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, I have.
Okay. And that imposter talk going along was kind of blocking you from doing what?
From taking action.
Awesome. And what was one of the simple tools that you and I talked about? Remember, one of the mantras is to declare all the time, I am perfectly imperfect. Remember that conversation we had?
Yes.
And then the other tool, can you kind of tee it up for us and kind of simplify this process for us?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we did was we discussed where I am right now is okay, because I have expectations of myself, and when I don't accomplish them, the imposter comes out and tells me that I'm not doing enough. So by accepting that where I am is okay, because it's just okay. I'm doing the best I can with where I am, and that I do have something great to share with other people. So we had discussed that maybe giving ourselves and them permission to fail for ourselves, but then also asking for permission to our prospects to talk to them about what we have to offer.
Exactly. And we put together, sorry guys, getting some feedback here.
Oops.
Let me mute the line just to be sure. Okay, I think it's better now. That's good. So, and we came up with, and not just from theory out of the air, was it? It was from some proven systems from mentors that we trusted and loved. And one of the things we did is we put together this little simple little survey, if you will, or a couple questions.
Yes.
And you put it in form of a text, and then you and I became accountable, and we put together, say we're going to do X number of invites in these next 3 days, and we got to work. And obviously, the reality is there was some procrastination from both of us. Let's be real; we're all perfectly imperfect creations here. And so the third day came along, and then on that day, because you had a simple tool to share, you were able to send how many invites out?
I sent 8 out.
Wow. Okay. And what was the basic messaging of that invite? What were the meat and bones of it?
Well, it was just to let some of my acquaintances and friends know what I'm doing, and ask their permission to let me know what their thoughts are on certain health issues, and let them know that it could be they're very interested or they're not interested at all, and that's okay. And just thank you.
And was part of your text, it didn't have to be, but did part of your text include our little questions?
Yes, it did. And
the question was,
let's see which one. On a scale of 1 to 10, what number are you when it comes to one or more of these? Gut and joint health, core protein intake, and or energy throughout the day.
Will you say those one more time? I wanted
Sure.
to know the intake. What was that?
One was gut and joint health.
Okay.
One was core protein intake.
Okay.
And then the other was energy throughout the day. Now, another thing that we did was we talked about making it more specific to each person that we're sending the text to.
Yeah.
So that wasn't for everyone. Some of the ones that I used, 1 second, let me get my notes here. Let's see real quick here.
yeah, and as Diane's teeing this up, guys, I'm going to write down maybe 3 or 4 or 5 ones that we can interplay. What the goal was to have 3 of these in here. And so go ahead and give us a couple of other options, Diane.
Okay. Second here. And I did change it up a little based on who I was reaching out to. Some are people that I'm not quite as great friends with. So a little bit more cold market in this area, although they're people that I know and trust in another area of my life with my work. And so I just let them know, well, I wanted to let you know that this is that I have a background in swimming and professional triathlons, and that nutrition has always been a big part of my life. So they don't know that area about me. So I kind of set it up like that. And then I said, I would love to get your feedback on if could I ask you a quick question? So I'm asking permission to ask a quick question or a favor. And if they could rate these on a scale of 1 to 10. And I kind of just made it very general: gut health, weight loss, and mood, energy. So it depends on the person. I just kind of changed it up a little bit.
Yeah, and one point I want to make here, guys, remember scripting, and we learned this a long time ago. I'm sure Jill and Jim, you've taught on this, and Carol, you have too, and Dennis. Any kind of scripts, we always view it as the skeleton, the bones. And then due to our personality style and the way we typically communicate and who we're talking with, that's how we put the skin on and the clothes on and the hat and even some cosmetics sometimes. So you follow me? So scripting doesn't mean it's black and white, rigid, here's the exact words to use. As Diane said, you tailor it to you. By the way, in case you're wondering, I'm going to include this verbiage and the notes from today's call right in our thread that we have with our wellness partner thread. So feel free to take a few notes, but these notes will also be over in the Z Wellness Warriors. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you, Diane or Robert, when you've been sending out the surveys, have you combined health with income, or has it been either or have you just been doing health right now?
For this one, I just focused on health.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some of mine are combined, and I will draw out. I will give you a rough script, a rough skeleton, if you will, for the. But when I combine them both, I put part 1, and then I put part 2. And I tee it up as, would you mind taking a 30-second survey for me? And I want to tee this up too far. There's a big reason to use the word survey or gap survey, fill in the gap, whatever we want to call it. One reason to tee up the survey word, if you will, verbiage, is because, and we can touch on this, Jill. That's fine. We won't be shot or anything by Brandon, but we are as a company going to be launching Zalevo, a very extremely cutting edge tool. And in that tool, it's going to be a CRM, texting, inviting, prospecting, campaign manager, follow-up manager. It's going to be all that in one. It's going to be amazing. And it's already being used by the best of the best in this industry already. And again, we're known for having the best of the best, and we will have the best of the best tool to use. And in that new tool will be these surveys already written out for you to send people, prospects, potential customers, and potential builders. All right.
So my thought around that, just really quick, since we're all leaders on the call and we're talking. So is there a way that they could like click a link, Robert, and there would be a survey where they put their name, I don't know, their name, like their info, like, I don't know, name, but that we have a copy of their survey instead of just going back to Messenger or text or.
The answer is heavens yes. Right now, we're just, Diane and I are just sharing with you a simple interim solution that you can just copy and paste. And once you have a couple different examples of this, as Diane and I are doing, you just copy and paste your little survey in there. So for now, that's what it is. But when we have this new tool coming out shortly with Zalevo, it'll be nice, professional, formatted. They'll enter their information, do a quick little 1-minute survey or less, and it's going to be I just want to tee it up and give you a little teaser about what's coming. In the meantime,
My non-techie blonde hair girl was just like, oh my gosh, this could get even better. Like we could do, yeah. So thank you for answering that question. I'll be quiet now. I will mute.
No, it's all good, Jill. And again, remember part one is we just went over that. Part two, you're on the same scale. Part two of my survey on the same scale, what's your interest in enjoying and additional income stream.
I love that. And Carol has a question.
Well, mine was about the new app or whatever it's going to be. Do we have any kind of a date?
Yes, we're talking in the latter part of July. So that's the goal here, our first part of August. So it's coming. We're working on it. Jill and I are part of the beta group, along with some other leaders, probably Jim as well. So again, we're working on it, and it's coming. So I know as networkers, we all want the latest, greatest tools, but for now, we have this tool. This tool works just as well, okay? And so the point is, I'm gonna, again, you'll see the exact format in my notes that I share in the group thread. So I think you're getting the gist of the survey. I want to rewind the clock for just a moment and cover some key points that Diane mentioned. And here are the key points. Here are some of the bullet points that make it work. All right, here it is. Here are the points, and this is also in your Wellness Partner Playbook. There's, hopefully you had this printed out and you refer to it all the time, because there are sections in here which are just gold. Just refer, you don't overthink it, just do it. So along with our RISE system, here's the keys to rejection-free inviting, okay? So part of it is, and this is covered in Relate and RISE. I use the word affirm. Remember, Diane, you're saying, just in case you didn't know, I come from a background of athletics, coaching, consulting, and whoever you're sending this little question to take your survey or questions, you want to affirm them. I also know that you work out, that I know you're a swimmer as well. You follow me, Diane? So you do that naturally.
Exactly. And then one thing I mentioned that I forgot to mention here was that I let them know that I've just begun a new endeavor, a new wellness endeavor, and I need your help. If you would do me a quick favor.
And I call that kind of clarify intention. Meaning, just be real. I'd love to get your opinion. And the next question is, yeah, I just started something new, a new project, new venture, new wellness, project, whatever it is. And then Diane and I are both using this, and it's been taught by all the other mentors, Jim, and we've read the books, and Jill and Carol. So, and here it is. It's, people love to do a.
When I've even said I am helping to launch a brand new company, and people are like, oh my gosh, like she's helping to launch a company. This is pretty cool. So people love that as well.
I love that. And you could clarify intention by all means. And that goes back to FOMO, fear of missing out. And remember, one of the big positioning tools we all can use, actually for the next 2, 3, 4 years, we are in launch mode with our company. And so launching a new or brand new company, and you can be part of that launch with me, so potentially. So, and people, especially people that, remember, tonight's call is on warm/hot market, let's be real. And they're on your phone, they're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, Instagram. So right now we're talking about a live message you would do with people in your warm market, okay? And then step 3, again, would you do me a quick favor? And then remember step 3, if I sent you this simple question, Or you could say, if I send you this little 30-second survey, whatever you prefer is fine. Question or remember, you know, we do teach, and even when the new app comes out, if you're using the survey tool, you need to clarify that it's either a minute or 30 seconds. If you say, well, you do a survey, they're thinking, well, maybe it's an hour-long survey. No, not right now. Okay, so do clarify the time on that. And I love this tool. This is one I've been reminded, I've been using it more and more. Anybody know what TIA stands for?
What is it?
TIA?
No.
TIA, thanks in advance. By the way, Jim, thanks in advance. I just so appreciate you. If I end that with a genuine, man, thanks in advance. I thank you ahead of time. I appreciate you. What are you teeing up when you do that? You're calling out a predictable positive outcome.
Absolutely.
You're
Thanking them in advance. Obviously, you're going to do it because you're the kind of person that does favors.
Exactly. So you're also showing him that you live in gratitude, or her.
Yep.
You know,
Very
and
much.
so, you know, all these steps, and these steps may seem like a lot, but to be honest, if you'll just kind of, hopefully they're already becoming more habitual in how we message and how I'm always striving and reminding myself to affirm compliment every chance I get. And in the future, we'll be doing some trainings on, and Jim and I will be talking this on the servant leader chats about one of our topics coming up in a few weeks will be the magic of the power of the follow-up. And if you want to know the number one simplest way to follow up is to reach out and affirm and compliment somebody. That's it. Just affirm them. I'm just wishing today, 5 times today, I just sent an affirmation message. One of my messages was, hey, Shannon, I just want to, because she's a faith-based friend and prospect, I'm praying that you will have a ton of courage and step into your leadership and mentoring like effortlessly, masterfully today. Smiley face. That's how I talk anyway. She knows that. And so it was well received. And like I sent my upline affirmation. I sent her a prayer. So and we were both crying about it afterwards. So anyway, so the point is affirm, make that a habit. Okay. And then it helps to summarize or clarify why. And I'm sure Jim and Joe, you taught this before. I've heard it, all the trainers, especially guys, when we're reaching out, connecting and inviting with warm market.
Hey, Robert, will you look for Diane to come back in? She had to come back in with her phone, so she'll come back into the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep an eye open there. So remember, even more so with warm market, really emphasize, how many times has it ever happened where somebody in your family or friendship close circle called you and spent the first 10 minutes asking about everything under the sun, and at the end of the call, right before they hung up, said, by the way, and it kind of shifted the whole energy of the call. By the way, and here was their invite to look at something. Why not shift it and say, I want to share something with you. I have a quick favor to ask. I do have a question for you before I go there. How's Aunt Susie?
Yeah, and I'd even said, hey, I'm reaching out to you with purpose, and then I asked them how they're doing it, but just so it's not a bait and switch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, be clear up front with our intention, especially with close family friendship circles, okay? And then a favor to ask, question survey, thanks in advance. And here's the other, this is one of the tools that Diane and I were talking about. And when she gets back online here, let me look for her. Not here yet. So the other tool is a real simple one. Jill and I were talking briefly about this before the call. And all it is this. I'm going to use the Rise as an example. Like under the Rise in the player's playbook, it says, here's an example, guys. It says, hey, Jim, you've always come across as someone that's super positive and helpful. So you affirm. We all do that. And I'd love to get your feedback on a new project I'm working on. And here's the shift. A lot of the trainings and scripting says, would you be open? Which is fine. It works. Here's a rejection-free way of asking the same. Because if you say, would you be open taking a look? They could potentially say,
No.
oh, no, we're being rejected. I did something wrong. I was really terrible at my approach, and this person hates me. And
Never going to do it again.
yeah, never do it again. They open the door for the deceiver to step in. So,
yeah.
Okay, so, and instead, here's a simple shift that you can make that will create this. It's the same process, but now it's rejection free. It's a simple tool. And here it is. Replace, would you be open to what are your thoughts?
Oh, that's genius.
What are your thoughts? Blank. And when you say, okay, I'd love to get your feedback, Jim, on a new project I'm working on. What are your thoughts around looking at a couple little short video clips? And if you aren't interested, no worries. What are your thoughts? And then Jim's gonna share his thoughts. He won't say yes or no. And Jim will probably, because he's a kind-hearted, big-hearted kind of guy, he will typically say, well, my thoughts are, what do you got, Robert? I love you, enjoy. So what are you guys doing? And then Jim, here's the caveat to tie it into what we just talked about, to tie it into the tool, to test the waters. So Jim, so I know what 2 videos to send you. I love to send 2 or 3 video short clips. I don't just send one ever. That's just me. Jill, you may send just probably 1 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Again, black and white, it's gray. All of us have different styles. All of us do. There's no black and white is my point. So anyway, so the way to tie it in, Jim, so I know what video to send you or 2 videos to send you, would you mind taking a quick little 30-second survey? Or would you mind answering this simple little question? And then what do you send them? On a scale of 1 to 10, you have a copy, you paste it into the text or the Facebook message or Instagram message. And Jim will look at that and he'll be honest, as Jim is. And Jim will say, well, Robert, to be honest, on the reducing body fat, I'm a 10. I'm not picking on Jim, but I guess I am. And Jim is on his way. And then the gut health, I'm not sure about Jim's tummy, but maybe it's a 7 or 6. What would your scale be on gut health, Jim?
Yeah, I'm in pretty good health that way, but it's way too big.
Okay. So Jim would maybe be a 6 or 7 on the gut health, and on the energy throughout the day, Jim would be a.
Now, 10 is I'm very interested in improving it, or that's where I'm at in my level.
So now I know.
Am I rating myself or am I wanting to be?
You're rating yourself right now.
Oh, okay. If I'm rating myself, my gut health is pretty darn good. I'm at 9.
Well, actually, you're expressing your interest in.
Oh, okay. So this is interest in what I want to improve.
Correct.
The way we do it, right? Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, my interest to improve. Let's get to the real one here. Reducing body fat, 10.
Okay, so now I know what to send Jim. I would send
Yep.
him maybe the fasting video, and he talked about, and he mentioned energy. So maybe I would still, even if it was energy, I would still send Jim the shake and the fasting videos. All of us have our different tools to send. Yes, Diane.
Actually, when I sent this out to a friend of mine, and told her this is my new endeavor. She came back and said, is the rating how interested I am in the topic or how much I actually address the issue? So
That's a
she had kind of the same question.
Great question. And the new version of our survey that we put together from other mentors, it's going to say in there, what's your level of interest in these?
Because I
Beautiful.
would want to know like where they are and then where they would like to be. So, you
Yeah.
know, I,
And that's why as we do this, look at the beauty of this call right now, where because we've been taught there was a tool and there still is a tool in our previous ventures called the gap survey. And
Yeah.
there's a gentleman who we all love. I'll talk about him. His name is Lenny, and he is a gifted wordsmith. And so as we all work together more, yeah, and I can put in the notes that I'll share on the on our business page, guys, the gap survey version. And Jill and Jim, I would love to even get with corporate and put the gap survey as one of the tools in the new app. So
that'd be great.
and so what I'll do for you guys, I'll also include the gap survey run it by Jill so we can tweak it. And again, it's a work in progress, but I will say this, with this new venture, my whole intention at this stage of my network marketing career, who can relate to this? My intention was to do whatever I can to keep this simple and to bring more joy into the process. Okay, and to bring more joy in the process, meaning let's be more organic, more authentic, and let's why even set it up for rejection? Why even go there with our people? Because if we know that's blocking most of our people, because everybody can connect. Hi, how are you? How things going? How's Aunt Susie? How's Uncle Bill? How are the kids? Everybody can connect. Oh, that's a great picture. A brand new stranger, we can connect. I see you love golf and I see you have grandkids. That's connecting. What blocks most of our people is how do I bridge into an invite to take a look?
Right.
And hopefully we're giving you some insights into a couple tools that help you bridge that gap and keep it with avoiding that crazy word, the rejection.
Mm-hmm. When you remove rejection from the equation, even the most timid person can be successful because that fear of rejection is real. And I mean, it's because it's an emotion, and emotions trump a lot of other things in our lives, including even real determination. I'm just going to push through it. But you find that, I used to be able to put on an armor and say, even with rejection, they're not rejecting me. And I would go through a whole series of things to try to overcome it. But it's so much easier to own the rejection before it ever is brought up by them, so it never comes up. And that's, in a way, that's what's happening with the way we are using your method here, which is genius. We can test the water, so we never have to hear the word "I'm not interested." They're just saying at this time, here's my survey. Thank you. That's awesome. This will help me. That was a great favor you've done for me. And, can I get back with you? And would you help me further in other things like this? So you never close the door, but at the same time, now you just move on.
We move on. And if they're a 6 or 7, nothing is a 9 or 10, again, bless them. And sometimes if they say I'm a 7 in this, and we just bless them and say hi to Aunt Susie, we move on. They come after. So wait a minute.
Yeah, I said it was a 7. Now talk to me.
Yeah, because they're expecting us to want to coerce them into a 9 or 10, and when we don't, some beautiful things may happen. So I do want to paint a picture here. We could do a whole training, and all of us have done it, on rejection, as Jen, you were saying so eloquently. I do want to paint a picture that the biggest, you want to call it a disease or whatever of the mind, and I think that one of the most challenging aspects of the human condition, this beautiful creation that God made, is the belief in self. Because we always, we taught you got to build your belief in the company, products, our beautiful profession. And then what people struggle with the most is the belief in self. And that's why anything we can do to keep this bolstered up and strong and armored for our people, the better. So if we even do methodologies like this that are more on, keep them on that place where it's more rejection free, then it will flow more and it'll bring more joy and duplication into the processes. That's the whole point in trainings like this, if that makes sense.
It does.
Mhm.
So one more thing, Diane, I want to touch on. Diane is a brand new wellness partner, and I would love to close on a couple thoughts here around maybe the mindset and why this is so important, guys. We all know, most of us probably know Jim because he's a very public figure, and you heard very clearly and succinctly from your heart to ours, Jim. You talked about you struggle with this.
I do.
And it can paralyze you sometimes.
It does.
Okay, so did everybody hear that on this recording or live? Are you hearing that? And Jim's a powerful, authentic. Jim is an influencer, and he inspires so many people, and he struggles with this. Jill, you mentioned it can halt you in your tracks sometimes.
Yeah, it absolutely can. And it's just been, being kind of a public figure like Jim, it's been so nice to have people reach out to us and want to know more information. We haven't had to reach out a whole ton, but if we did reach out, our numbers would even be higher. So it's, this is so key to be able to come up with this for everyone, because we all have this fear. I mean, maybe some of you don't. Carol, I don't know. You've been doing it for a long time. Maybe you don't have, any of this, but for most people, we do. We all have the imposter that comes in,
And so join the club. It's part.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I love it.
We're all faith-based. I think it's part of the deceiver's work. Otherwise, if it was totally light and no darkness, we wouldn't struggle with any of this self-belief stuff, this rigmarole. But we are. So Diane, I want to close on this too. This is again a brand new wellness partner, and here's the cool part. If you knew Diane, can I be just really authentic with you?
Sure.
So if you knew Diane, everybody's probably already heard the energy she gives off. Is it like bubbly and positive and strong?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. It is. And Diane, you know that. That being said, we've touched on this on several of our mentoring calls. What do you struggle with often enough?
Well, I would say, as we had discussed, is transitioning from what I know I'm really good at to starting something new and letting the people that already know and love and trust me with what my business, my work that I do, and transitioning to let them in on what I'm doing on the side and get their trust. So I think the biggest thing is the imposter. And so once, even in the middle of the night, I woke up and I could feel the negativity a little bit. And I was like, oh, stop that. That's the imposter talking. Stop. And it's like, I can do this. I know that everybody starts at the beginning, and we all have to take baby steps and learn along the way and get more confident as we do things. And honestly, working with Robert's been really fantastic. And knowing that I've got my call, because he schedules those calls in advance, and it's like, I got to get busy. I'm going to be talking to Robert. I need to get these done. And so it's like 1, 2, 3, just do it. And as I shared with them, is once I started it, I wrote out my scripts on my text and changed it to different people. It became easier. So it's just getting in there and doing it and turning off the imposter.
Yeah, and one of the only ways that Diane was able to do that is, number one, to do the do. I have to do the do to stay in the flow. Otherwise, my imposter will bog me down after this many years. Jim, Jill, Dennis, Carol, all of us on this line, including Diane. My point too, Diane, you come across people around you perceive you as this strong, incredibly amount of self-esteem, self-belief, and inside that you have the imposter talking often, and you have this fear of being judged often because you deeply desire people to see you as this leader who's capable. And sometimes if you say, well, I'm new at this, I don't know all the answers, what will they think of me? How will they judge me? Yes.
Yes, but what I found too with some of the people that I know is I started my text with, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
yes, and so letting them know that this is new and uncomfortable, and I've started a new wellness venture. Can you do me a favor? And yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, answer these questions for me.
Yeah.
And they all 4 of them answered.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. When we can be authentic and transparent with who we are, all of our thorns and the roses, all of our flaws and the perfections, the fact that we're broken and we're whole, all the above, my goodness, isn't that powerful? That's a great way to close this. Jim, I'd love to get kind of a closing thought or a summation. I know you and I have been on a growth journey because of the servant leader chats, and both of us are growing.
Yes. I think what you're helping to create here, Robert, also by us being able to meet other super leaders that feel and have the same fears, even with their successes that we didn't know, makes us realize this is normal. And the imposter talks to all of us the same way, saying, well, when I'm making enough money, then's when I want to talk to people about making money in this business. When I have reached my goal of weight loss, when I've reached my goal of health, whatever, all of those thoughts and feelings, I'm not quite ready because I haven't perfected my opening statement to them. All of that just keeps you from doing anything. That's where I get paralyzed. But if I'm willing in faith to step out into the dark, not knowing if I'm going to get rejected, and simply say, it's okay if I do, because they're not going to kill me, and they're not, and the worst thing's going to happen is they're going to say no. Right now, it already is a no, because they don't know what I have to offer. And so bottom line is it's worth me being rejected a bit to make sure that I am, but with this, I don't even have to go through that pain. And that opens up the door for so many people who are more timid, I'd just say, and more reluctant to approach other people, because you now know if they are approachable, and they're going to tell you so just through such a soft, gentle invite. Do me a favor. I'm doing this new venture. I value your opinion.
Yeah.
Would you mind taking a little survey? It'll really help me in my new, wellness venture.
Yeah.
And open the door. They're going to be, like you say, they're going to be so curious, even if it's a 7. What is this venture? Doggone, you got my attention, Well, I'm glad you asked. May I send you some additional information of exactly what I'm doing? Good. Do me a favor and evaluate that. I'd like your opinion on it. Whatever. Right back.
I love it, Jim. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Jill, you're
Here we
muted.
go. Sorry about that. I 100% agree. And when we get this down for people, it's going to be like they won't be scared to send out the messages, because it's almost like, well, one thing I know is the action wipes away anxiety. Like if you get into action, then you won't be anxious about it any longer. Like if you sit down and just start sending those messages out. But a lot of people are afraid to start sending the messages out because they don't want to say the wrong thing. And they feel like they don't have a huge circle of influence. So they don't even want to start because they don't want to ruin their circle of influence saying the wrong thing. Does that make sense to anybody? Okay, so I feel like if we have something that's been tried and true, which we're going to be doing with the whole survey thing, which I love, then I feel like it's really going to be, people are going to start being able to build their businesses quicker because they know that it works, right? And they don't feel like they're going to be rejected, and they feel like they're not putting pressure on people as well.
Yeah, so thank you, Jill. And again, with something like this or some version of it, as we're even getting it even more polished, we can test the waters.
Mhm.
So isn't it empowering to be able to test the waters and to see if they're even wanting to swim before we invite them to swim? That's the point we're making here. So guys, thanks for joining us. I do want to pause before we end the call. Any additional questions, comments from the participants here joining us live? Dennis?
I just have one. As I look at this is great stuff, and it's also going to make it less awkward for the people we're talking to. And you mentioned about the fear of being judged. We're not going to be judged if they don't feel awkward or pressured. So I really like that.
Awesome. That's
excellent. Excellent. I agree totally, Dennis.
Mhm.
Yeah, great comment. Thank you, Dennis. And, Carol, thanks for being here. Any comments, Carol?
I guess the thing I'm sitting here thinking that I would say to people and those of us that have been around it for years and years and years, that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So dig through, take the aces out of the deck and only keep them.
I love it.
We love it too. Carol's been in network marketing very highly successfully for several decades, just like many of us have. And Carol,
And I'm only 20 years old.
yeah,
Your whole life.
yeah,
He just works fast.
It was a hard 20 years.
yeah, really tough. So
Heavy learning curve.
So guys, thanks for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording. I do want to invite you, Jim and I both, to our servant leader chat. Remember, we do our team call with Jill every Monday night. And then we have these beautiful corporate calls led by top leaders and trainers too, from corporate and the field, on Tuesday nights and Wednesdays. So we just love you guys. Love and light, and be blessed, and test the waters, have fun. And a lot of people are praying for an answer. Let's work through step into our courageous self and reach out. And
Robert, thank you for your servant leadership. We are so completely grateful for you. So
Definitely.
thank you.
Yes. Thank
Amen
you.
to that.
Definitely.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
you're so welcome. Thanks, guys. God bless.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.